Hey guys, starting to get a bit busy. The old school's kicked out, so the old traffic's building up a little bit. But it's bloody hot. But oh well. But it's Thursday, and I don't know. I had some successes. I've realised that if I have wobbles, which I've had some wobbles, and whenever I have wobbles, don't get offended if I notice that I pull away a little bit. You know, a lot of the time it's me going, okay, I've got to tune in here, and it's not anybody that there's no blame, there's nothing like that. I'm not pulling away to be nasty, nothing like that. I realise I'm doing it after the fact. Funny enough, you know, I start doing it, and then I realise I'm doing it, and I think, okay, maybe, because there's always maybe, there's always the balance. You know, maybe this is something that's saying, all right, start looking within, start tuning in, and I did. I had a really good success with anger today, and it's always, everybody's different, but it all comes down to triggers. And you know, I spent pretty good percentage, you know, of the time, whatever's going on in front of the person with the anger, that's just a trigger to somewhere. And you know, I'm starting to recognise even on a better level now where my anger's coming from, and what I can start doing. And had an awesome session with my therapist today, and we talked about some energy and all kinds of things, and it puts that clarity. Even if, and it was one of those meetings where I wasn't expecting it, because she's gone on vacation, my therapist, and you know, I'm like, hey, don't worry about it, all good, you know, I'll be all right. And then she texts me, I think it was last night, saying, hey, I'd like to chat, you know. I'm like, oh, all right. And it was one of those when you're like, yeah, I needed that. I needed that. You know, I don't like to say needed, but yeah, I think I did. And I was able to see on a better. I was able to see with something that was cropping up today, and I thought, oh, this ain't going to make my anger very, very good, and I just tuned in. And then looking at, okay, now what do I do? And then I did certain things, these are the things I teach. I did certain things, put some certain things in process, and everybody's different. You know, it's looking at the core issue first, looking at the reasons why, and every single person is different there, guys. You know, anger comes from different ways, different backgrounds, different traumas where there wasn't actual, like you couldn't see an actual physical trauma, which comes down to control and manipulation and not having the realizations of that. And then anger comes out later on, where you're like, geez, what the hell's going on with me? And then you've got the traumas that are actually there right in front of you, and you got anger towards that. So there's different angers, but people see it. Some people don't catch on, some people do. Everybody's different. So it's going into those backgrounds and looking at that first. Otherwise, you know, yeah, you can use tools. Absolutely, it's what I teach. I teach the tools, but it's also about going into that background, finding out what's going on there, instead of just throwing band-aids. Look at it, and that sometimes means going to those places. One of the best therapy sessions I had actually was when I actually lost it over a situation that I didn't actually kind of have control over it, and I was a different person then too, guys. I didn't, there was, you know, there was no looking at my wife and my friend and that was sitting there, and you know, and there I am. I've got my two daughters, my wife, and another girlfriend of ours with us, and it was one of those situations where they had it handled. But you know, I kicked in and didn't get to do. So anyway, I ain't going there. It's old me, different me, completely different me. But I wouldn't have even been able to talk to you about that, guys. Back then, I wouldn't have even been able to mention the story of that without going like that, put like PTSD, man, like straight back into it, and I would have been reenacting that shit. And I did it in my therapist's office, and I was able to let it go. And it was weird. I went through all the emotions, but instead of trying to fight back on them, I just embraced them. And I was sitting there looking at my therapist, freaking just absolutely, probably soaking in sweat, crying my eyes out, at the point of where I don't know what's going on now, because now I'm in touch with the emotion underneath the anger. And that's where you go. You look at that. And it's about talking to somebody that you can trust and know that they've got your back without there's no judgment or anything like that. I'm able to talk to my therapist very openly, very, very openly, and tell her everything. Even if I'm in the wrong, I'll say to them, I've got to tell you this. And then I'll say it, and I'll put my hand up and freaking own up. And then be like, right, how do we work this out? Where's it coming from? And then start working it out. But I was able to get out of anger real well today. I'll tell you what. I'm pretty happy with myself. So don't give up on yourselves with it. Don't think you're a lost cause. Don't think you're no good, because that's just that freaking bullshit on your shoulder pulling you down, pulling you in the direction it wants you to go. Because now it's got you. Now all that shit, all that anchored shit from back whenever is just hanging there. Like a freaking anchor, it's just yanking you. It'll yank you back over and over, and it means looking at it, looking at it, and going, right, what the heck is that? Where is this coming from? What is this? Where is it coming from? And it takes time. It's not overnight. It's work, but you can get on top of it. You can. Stay the course, guys. Namaste.